Good morning, I'm still Jeremy and I'm here in Yokkaichi, Japan, and behind me is Kintetsu Yokkaichi Station. Kind of a big line here on the Kintetsu line. If you go this way, you can get to Nagoya. If you go back this way, you can get to Ise or Osaka, which is where I came from. Kind of a big station on a big important line. All the trains hovering above the ground level. But over here, beyond this construction, it's hard to see from here, in a little corner, there is another part of the station which is not Kintetsu, and it's a little private railway, and it just goes off into sort of the countryside for a few miles and then just stops. And that's what I'm going to investigate today, is this little train line called the Yokkaichi-Asunarou line, a little private railway. Today I'm alternately riding and walking along the small Asunarou Railway in Yokkaichi, Japan. It's highly unusual for several reasons. It runs on the honor system since usually nobody checks tickets. It was once abandoned and then saved by the city of Yokkaichi, and it's the narrowest railway in Japan, and its trains all look like big toys. Best of all, it leads to fascinating historical places and through mesmerizing old neighborhoods. It seems downright proud of its quirky uniqueness. Okay, so it's here, this Asunarou Yokkaichi station is. The railway starts here, this is the end station, and it goes down south. But before I get on the train, I want to go down here and see if I can find one of the crossings, because I want to show you the tracks. There are only 3 railways in all of Japan that are like this. It's very, very unusual, and actually, apparently you can notice it with your own eyes. First of all, before we even leave, I see a hair salon. Closed today here on a weekday morning, but there it is. Now, where are the tracks? Okay, here we go. Look at these tracks. They are 2.5 feet apart. This is an extremely old style of gauge, of railway, that are very, very narrow. So decades ago, all the trains, most of the trains in Japan, kind of around the world, were this narrow. And they were all, here in Japan, they were all abandoned, or they were converted decades ago into the more wider gauge that they are now. So this is one of only 3 railways in all of Japan that are still this narrow. And as such, the trains are very narrow. And I can't wait to see these trains. I haven't seen one yet with my own eyes. I've seen them on the internet, but I haven't seen one yet. And that's not the only thing that's unusual about this train line. So first, there's the issue of how to pay for a ticket. All of the stations, there's 7 stations after we leave this one on this line, all of them are unstaffed. But they all used to be staffed, except one which never was staffed. And as such, you have to buy a ticket on each platform, a little machine. I think you can use the IC card that I'm going to use, but there's no one to check the tickets. This line is very infamous among Japanese train nerds for sort of being on the honor system. Not exactly, because sometimes they do check, but you can very easily get a free ride. I'm not going to, because I like to follow the rules, but it's one of the weird things about this train line is that you just sort of, you pay and they take your word for it. So here are machines where you can buy paper tickets. Here's the route map. It starts here. Goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's one little branch line that goes off to there. I'm not going to go on that today. I'm just going to go on this main line here. And I'm going to alternate between riding the train and walking somewhere. I don't have an exact schedule, but I'll just get off where I want to get off and ride where I want to ride. I'm not going to buy a paper ticket. I'm going to see if I can use my IC card. There you go. And the train is coming in just a few minutes. They are, of course, very proud of their narrow gauge. It says 762 millimeters narrow gauge. And let's see, where does this go? There you go. Look at all this cool stuff too. I don't have much time to mess around before my train comes, but some nice little omiyages you can get. All right, let's go out here and get our first look at this train, which comes, I think it leaves at 10:43 and it's 10:39 now, so let's see. here it is. It is an obviously narrow train. Can I get on? I'm gonna get on. Wow, look at this. Just room enough for one seat on either side in an aisle. So the first things I notice, no luggage racks. Guess just maybe no room on this tiny little train. The handles here on the edge of the seats are heart-shaped. That's nice.
All passengers, welcome aboard the Yokkaichi-Asunarou Railway.
IC カードはそこですか？はい、ありがとうございます。All right, I decided to get off here at the very first stop. Aki, what's it called? Hang on a second, let me get a shot of the train leaving so you see how narrow this train is. Single track, because there's only one train every half hour in either direction, and actually right here, since this is sort of before the line branches off, there's a train every 15 minutes here, but still, they only need one track for it. All right, what's the name of this stop? Go back down and see the sign. All right, Akahori. I guess this is the, I think this is the character for, I don't know if it's a character for the train line or for all of Yokkaichi City, but an unusual looking character. Konyu Do-kun has been the official character of Yokkaichi City since 1997. If you make a wish while touching his tongue, it's good luck. He won a nationwide mascot contest in 2018 before it was found that city employees were submitting multiple ballots to rig the vote. Despite the tarnished reputation, his local popularity persists, much like an old narrow-gauge railway might. And I asked the driver, how do I pay? And he said, oh, just do your IC card over here somewhere. So I guess that's what this little machine is down here. So I'm going to get out and explore this area because it looks like my type of area. Look, old rust and things decaying. Perfect. I think I'm going to walk to the next station. Okay, what is there to do around here? Where am I now? Right here. Which way is north? That way. Okay. I don't know. Let's just wander. I hear some crossing guards, crossing gates closing, so I think a train is coming. So I want to wait here and get a picture of the train, but I think if you see up here, these trees are cut into circles. Not many, but it counts. I guess all the trains are 3 cars long and they're all one-man trains, so-called one-man trains. So it's just a driver and no conductor. And no sidewalk on this road. More trees cut into circles if those other ones weren't good enough for you. Whoa, 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 whoa. No, I don't care for this road. I'm gonna see if I can find a different road somewhere. I actually don't know where I'm going. I'm gonna have to consult Google Maps because I'm just sort of walking blindly south. See down there, a cherry blossom tree. See if I can light that up better. Not really. Anyway, cherry blossom season in this area, this part of Japan, is just ending. So the trees right now are about half pink with the cherry blossoms and half green with the leaves that come afterwards. Kind of considered the very tail end of a respectable looking cherry blossom. Let's see, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I see a monument. So let's go see this monument. It's surprisingly cold today, or chilly. I don't have a coat. All I have is what I have on, so we'll see how cold I get. Well, if my Japanese is correct, I think it says heat and light. Okay, well, since I found this little park, I will take a little break here and I'll tell you some facts about the railway. So it's called the Asunarou Railway. Asu is tomorrow and Naro is like let's become. So like let's become the future. Let's be the future. It started in 1912, this train line, and the stations that we've seen so far, the two stations, those started in 1912. It was a steam train in those days, private railway. In 1928, it became a gasoline train. And then in 1943, finally, it was electrified, which is what it is now. In 1965, it stopped being a private railway and became part of the Kintetsu network. And for the longest time, that's what it was. When I first moved to Japan, apparently, I didn't know about it, but this was the Kintetsu Utsube line. And it was that way for 50 years. And then in 2015, Kintetsu started saying, you know, this line is just losing money. It's this narrow gauge little railway. It's losing a lot of money. We're going to abandon it. And the city of Yokkaichi said, well, that's too bad. And the people who live around here, like, we're saying, well, we need the train line. So it's sort of now, I don't exactly understand. It's like owned by the city of Yokkaichi, but run by this private railway company or the other way around or something. There are actually a sort of a handful of narrow gauge railways like this in Japan, but only 3 that are actually used for like local passenger stuff. There's a couple that are in Tokyo Disneyland, which is different. There's 2 or 3 that are like on private, like industrial properties, you know, so just for that, so not for the public, but the only 3 that are still extant are this one. There's one that's sort of north of Yokkaichi, which if you're really enjoying this, maybe I can ride that one someday. And there's one somewhere else somewhere on Nagano or somewhere. The station I just got off at, Akahori, is boarded by 321 people a day on average. The next one we're going to is a little bit more, but let's go there now. It's called Hinaga, and I'm not really close to being there yet. And I think we're gonna have to cross a river. So I'm looking forward to that. Right, there's the railway. So where do I go? Yeah, I'll go show you these sakura trees, these cherry blossom trees. These are 80 or 90% done, 80% done. Here's one of the problems of traveling by yourself. There's a seesaw and no way to enjoy it. Hey! Graffiti, a little bit more graffiti. Not too great, but it counts. Some nice cartoon drawings, but it's not really a sign, just a container. So let's say no. I guess this is the river that looks more impressive on the map than it does here in real life, but it's pleasant. And my GPS on my phone is a little confused about where I am, so it says I'm way down there or something, but I'm actually right here. So I'm not quite sure I'm still going the right way to the station. But I am still going south, so good enough. Another one of those perfectly timed, perfectly placed obachans with a cart. I think this is actually a kimono shop. And there's some examples of prints you can get in a very old looking house. I mean, that house looks like it's from, I don't know. Not an expert on these things, but before the 1950s maybe. And here is Shohei Ohtani, who advertises everything in the world here. He's on every advertisement here in Japan. All right, here are the tracks. That's the station. I hope I can get in this way. So from here, this is Hinaga station, and this is where the train line splits. So one little tiny branch line goes off to one more station, and mine keeps going straight that way. So from here, the trains only run in one direction every 30 minutes. So if I miss a train, it's a bad thing. Let's go check the schedule. So that's where you would buy a paper ticket. That's the former window, which has not been staffed in a number of years. And I'm going to Utsube. And what time is it now? It's 11:14. So the next train for me is 11:35. So I've got 20 minutes. Do I want to go onto the platform now, or do I want to wander around a little bit more? Let's wander around a little bit more. The mailman and his scooter, that counts as a scooter. Go watch the train go by yet again. Often on these videos, I hope that I can just happen to be near the line when a train that's not mine passes to get video of it. So far today, I mean, it's still early in the day and I've seen it like 4 times. Let's do a more artful shot this time. This place, Aritake, sells alcohol. Oh, wait, alcohol and guitars. I don't have a glare filter for my camera, so I don't know if you can see these guitars. But, let's see if we can go in. Oh, すいません。いいですか？今日は散歩したそうお酒や見たそうお酒ですちょっと待ってギターあるよ
お酒はちょこっとぐらい
半分お酒半分ギター
ギターマイホビー
あそうかそうかはいこれすいませんお名前は
有竹です
有竹
有竹です
有竹
はい My name is 秋田有竹
My name is 有竹
はい
Music is his hobby. His alcohol shop. お酒屋でしょ
お酒屋
お酒
も売ってます
でもたまにライブギターは趣味ですでしょ
ギタードラムもあるよ
ドラムもあるこのベースでしょ
ベースもやるしドラムもやるしギターもやります
マルティインストゥルメンタリスト全部できる
全部下手
全部本当に上手
で下手よ
でも今練習だからこれ忙しいだから僕はちょっと出ます
はい
またはいありがとうございます If you come to this area, please come to the live show 土曜日ですね
はい土曜日やってるよ
ありがとうございます
Thank you
Thank you what I was gonna say before I went in was, oh, here's like a liquor shop, but there's no beer vending machine out in front. There often is. And as I was about to say that, I noticed the guitars, and I went in. He was in there. So anyway, he said he often does a live little show in there. All right, well, I feel very good about having left the station to go see that. Didn't see a beer vending machine, but I saw something even better. So it is now 22. Doesn't seem to be much else around here, so I'm gonna go ahead and sit in the station and wait. And here it is. Nothing on the platform but 4 chairs and a bag of trash. So my train will come from here, stop here, and I'll continue down there. That is the little branch line that goes off to the other branch. And this is sort of the big station on the line, I guess. But besides the endpoints, this is, see, double tracked here. Double tracked here and single tracked over there, to allow all the massive commotion. Actually, before the train comes, while we still have time, I see a little display on this other platform over here about the gauge of the railway. All right, so here we go. So the widest, that is Kintetsu lines and the Shinkansen. That's how wide that is, 1.4 meters. And then the next one over here, second longest, that is JR lines, or some JR lines, at just over a meter. And then this tiny, tiny one, that's the magical Asunarou Dentetsu that we are using today. So you see how tiny this one is and why the trains are so narrow. And now if you excuse me, I'm distracted by whatever this is. Some fake turf and a big green area. I guess it represents being green, which is Yokkaichi's thing, you know. Be green, don't be polluted. I'm gonna go back to my platform that I do not miss the train. Oh, here you go, they're proud of their monument. It was 2 years ago in July 6th, they added this monument about the gauge to brag about the narrow gaugeness. I continued riding and walking the railway all the way until the final station. See the full adventure in the extended video at patreon.com/T1DWanderer. So yes, I did miss a train apparently, and the next one is in about 20 minutes from now. I'm gonna ride the entire thing back all the way to Yokkaichi, and that'll be my look at the Yokkaichi-Asunarou train line. First, real quick, I wanna look around this platform because look at all the nice flowers they've planted. So all sorts of interesting things going on here at Utsube Station. I'm gonna go ahead and finish the checklist here. So here's today's checklist. Abandoned bicycle, interesting statue or figurine, motor scooter, obachan with cart, notable bird, cartoon drawing on sign, graffiti, hair salon, tree cut into circles, car elevator, and beer vending machine. And that's my look here at the Yokkaichi-Asunarou train line, the narrow gauge train line, one of the more unique ones that I've seen here in Japan, and there are other lines around here. So hopefully one day I get to come back here and see some more of these areas. But anyway, thank you very much for watching this. If you ever get a chance to come out here, please do, because it's a great line just to ride and to check out the little places all along it. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Watch today's full video, plus more exclusive travelogues, video diaries, and other stuff as a paid or free supporter at patreon.com/T1DWanderer. Thanks to everyone helping me keep this channel alive. Special thanks this week, in random order, to Matt Kane, Samantha, Darcy Otranto, Calvin Ferreira, Russell Davis, Ray Nichols, Michael Fedor, Lever Wong, Will Phillips, and David Richley. Thanks for wandering around the Asunarou Railway with me. Everywhere is worth exploring.